Welcome to MatchQuarters.com. Today we're going to talk about cheat steps primarily in the high safety position in Rip Liz match, whether it's match 3 or you could even do it in your cover 1 concepts. It's really teaching that safety in the middle of the field, kind of how to play. So here is a kind of a look at here's a look at typical Rip Liz 3 match. You've got outside leverage by these guys. You've got a middle of the field safety. You've got corners that are either press bailing or they're bailing out. They're bailing out at the snap. So everything that we're doing, everybody's kind of in the same system. What we're talking about is really primarily this free safety and kind of the different read that he's going to be doing. I started noticing this and talking with some people that are living in the system. The free safety's role really is going to change in this Rip Liz system depending on down and distance. And this was something that Kirby Smart talked about a couple years ago at the Texas High School Coaches Association when he did his lecture on, hey, we had to start really looking about what are we going to do in our Rip Liz stuff, primarily on early down. So I'm going to give 2 examples. I'm going to use Western Kentucky, who does a lot of bracket, but then when they morph into this kind of 3 match or this cover 1 man match system, they kind of do a little bit different things. So I want to give you 2 different ways that you can play this free safety to kind of fit your comfort level. But the whole premise of this is first of all, the free safety here in a traditional cover 3 is told, hey, deepest of the deepest, don't let anything behind you, close the post. And so what you're starting to see it primarily too, these offenses are starting to realize basically the divider rules for these outside linebackers. And what they're doing is they're getting in traditional splits or even tightening that split, getting outside leverage, and then they're running inside. And you're getting slant routes, you're getting these kind of over routes, and primarily with play action. So when you get play action, these guys are going to come up, right? I mean, they're single gap, they're gapped out, that's what they're doing. You've got him going back, and now all this guy has to do is run to space. And for the quarterback, that is a low percentage throw. And so what you're seeing now, primarily with this Rip Liz stuff, is you're not getting any of this anymore. I mean, this used to be, this is kind of spread 101. Well, he's outside alignment, so he's already on top of that. Even if you were to run like the slant bubble on that, he's got to go through that Sam linebacker. So what you're seeing now is these in-breaking routes. They're getting play action, and then they're running these slants right off of it, getting him gone. This guy's bailing out. So one of the things that Kirby Smart said that they had to start doing at Georgia with the Rip Liz system, and what I'm going to illustrate to you in a couple film clips from Western Kentucky, is now you have to start playing this guy a little different. And he's going to use what I call cheat steps. Okay, and these are kind of the same steps. So if you're familiar with poach or you're familiar with solo, that backside safety in solo, let's say it's a 3-by-1 alignment, that backside safety is going to cheat, keeping an eye on that triangle, right? So that, because if you get run weak, he's got to fill that alley and cover in 3-by-1. So what you're doing is taking these same steps, but you're really reading the quarterback. So all this guy's going to do is almost flat foot read it. And what it ends up becoming is almost kind of like an inverted Tampa is what it ends up looking like. And these guys kind of have the overlap. And then here's your whole player in the middle. And these guys kind of are kind of the go-between in the middle. And so what you end up getting is this inverted Tampa 2 stuff, but it's from a 3-match look. Now, Georgia's going to play it a little bit differently than Western Kentucky, and then also how aggressive you want him playing. And remember, he's got eyes on that quarterback. So one of the big things is, let's say we want to play bracket. Okay, so if we're going to play bracket, that safety's going to be over here, and then obviously we're going to be out, and he's coming. So because it's our too high look. But in bracket, it's the same thing. You're going to be coning these 2 players together. If you get any vertical or any out, that Sam linebacker is going to take it. So in here, if you get any kind of inside stem, now that safety is going to hammer down on that. And so what that ends up being is kind of similar, but you're adding a little bit more space, and that Sam linebacker is playing a little bit tight. So what this free safety is doing is reading the mesh. If he gets this, he's kind of the quarterback player. If the quarterback were to escape, then now he's going to fit off of it. If that quarterback gets that play action, you get all of these guys going. What he's going to do is read that quarterback. If that quarterback's staring down this guy, he's going to start working this way. If the quarterback is flop reading it and he's staring at this guy, he's going to start working this way. Okay? So the key really is this safety and where the quarterback's eyes are. So again, if we're getting here, he's going to start working here. If he's looking over here and we get this slant, he's really closing down that post. And so what you end up doing is if you run some bracket, that's essentially what you're playing, is you're ending up playing that bracket look. Okay, so let's watch some film on this. So this is Western Kentucky. Watch the high safety right here. They're in a cover one look. They're not going to match these up. He's attached to 3. He's attached to 2. What you're going to end up getting is a rat in the hole here, and then he is eyes on the quarterback. He's going to end up looking at the quarterback the whole time. So as this going down, he's actually sinking down into this. They're playing man over here, playing man up here, and he's just sinking in there. The quarterback is looking at this side right here. He sees the rat. Okay, and the safety's in the middle. So even if this were to elongate and go here, you've got your rat and you've got him in the middle. Okay, so what does the quarterback do? He ends up pulling it down and it goes into a loaded box. So it's 3rd and 3. Now it's a 4th down. Now they got a punt. Okay, so even on short 3rd down yardage, you can see how he's just looking at the quarterback. So had the quarterback decided, okay, I'm going to hold the ball, I'm going to hold on to the ball, and this guy's kind of blind, and I'm going to wait till he comes over here, well, then now I'm going to hammer down on that, and you still have that cone action on the main threat, okay? Because you kind of have, what you're getting is kind of this runoff with a slant and then kind of a fake bubble over here on this side. They're really trying to throw it over there. So it ends up being really nice, and then that safety comes down into the fit, okay? Here's another look at it. Now we're going to get a jet bash look. So we're going to get Q counter bash, right? So we're getting the bash look, okay? And he's looking, and again, that safety's in the middle of the field. He's about 12 yards, and all he's doing is reading the mesh, okay? He sees, and he's just shuffling. He's not worried necessarily about the pullers here because the quarterback doesn't even show any intentions. He sees that ball thrown, and then now he's going to get going. Okay, and what this really allows you to do is, because you're in that three match and most likely you're playing some sort of man match concept, is that now you've got, these guys don't necessarily have to be spying. I don't need this guy to now hammer down in here and him work over. These guys can stay together. Okay, and now that safety is running down and he can see the alley. So you can see how he's got the alley. So, and 2, what would have happened if the quarterback fakes it and then now starts taking off? He could easily take that step and then start sliding in. You would still have an outside and inside. He can now go ahead and take it, and then now you have the cap fit. So you have an inside shoulder, an outside shoulder, and the cap fit right here. So you end up having 3 guys over here. Now, that doesn't end up happening. What ends up happening is that he ends up tossing it to it, and now at the moment that ball is leaving, now he's in the alley. So you have the cutback player, you have a guy trying to set the point, and then you have him running the alley. So as he comes over here, you've got that safety in there to make that play. Okay, so again, you can notice how with Western Kentucky, they're really playing it more or less with kind of a real aggressive on those cheat steps, that flat foot read, and then obviously he's running the play down. Okay, so let's look at how Georgia plays, because Georgia plays it a little bit different. So this is a good example of Georgia playing the cheat steps. 1, 2, 3. Notice how the high safety here, he's just going to shuffle out 1, 2, 3, and then he's going to get into his back pedal because he sees that it's pass. Okay, and so again, they're kind of like Western Kentucky. They've attached the linebacker to the back. These guys are staying here. It's kind of a cover 1 concept. Okay, so you can see how here that 1, 2, 3, and then now he's bailing out of there. So that's your cheat steps there. Now they're a little bit different. They don't want to play it as tight. They've kind of got a little bit different athletes, so they can kind of allow him to be secondary support. But you can see even at 12 yards, cheat. If this guy were to dart down, he can now hammer down on top of it, and it allows him to really play in that trail technique. Again, a lot like you would play cone or you would play bracket. You're getting kind of the same look from the middle of the field. So it ends up being, it's tight, so he kind of holds it. I like to tell my safeties too, is it naked or clothed? If it's clothed and he's covered, then I can stay high. If it's naked and let's say this guy kind of just falls down or he's off, now I can really come hammer down because it's naked and that thing's coming. But because it's clothed, both of these guys are clothed, now he can stay high, ball gets tipped, and we almost have a tip drill interception. Okay, now this is a good example of, and really where the guy's eyes are. Okay, he's looking at the quarterback right here. Watch this safety the entire time as the play runs through. Okay, you're getting a buck sweep opposite. What he's doing is he's just checking that quarterback. Okay, 10 is there for the quarterback as well, but imagine if you were playing somebody like a Lamar Jackson, or you have a quarterback that's more of a runner instead of a thrower, and he's more athletic, and let's say this guy accidentally takes the inside shoulder, now he's out. Well, now you've got an athlete that can run the alley because he's checking that quarterback first. So you can even see this with his cheat steps. 1, 2, 3. Now I see it. I'm going to check quarterback, but then now I'm running the opposite direction. And it kind of really, to me, it takes pressure off of this. In single high, what's the worst thing that can happen? It could be a quarterback run game, right? Because you're a man short, and you're focused on this, or if they want to lead block it, or if they manipulate one guy, now you're a man short. Well, what you're doing is, instead of just bailing him to oblivion, okay, you are having him just kind of sit in that area and play from depth. It's no different than if you were to play him from quarters and you're playing him from the top down. It's the same concept. You're just changing kind of his leverage point, and you're putting him in the middle of the field to begin with. So again, 1, 2, 3, I see the quarterback pop out. I'm going to double check, make sure he's not taking it. Again, if they were to have run some sort of backside slant RPO off of the running back, he's now in the window. Right, and so the quarterback hands the ball off, so now he can pursue the play. And again, like I said at the beginning, it really takes a lot of pressure off of that D end or outside linebacker to be right. Now he can really he's surfing, he can read it, okay? If he takes a little bit of an inside step, it's okay, because if he leaks out, it's going to be fine. So even if he's a little bit too aggressive, you're still going to be okay, because you don't have him going to oblivion, him taking too sharp of an angle, and now you don't have anybody over here. He is keeping an eye on that quarterback and is able to fit right there off of it. Okay, so those are two different ways that you can see it. You can see it from kind of that flat foot read in the middle that I kind of described at the beginning. You then can see it kind of that chop step, that cheat step, 1, 2, 3, eyes to the quarterback, and release off of that with Georgia. So it gives you two different ways to play that. And so hopefully that helps you out. Again, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Match Quarters. Visit MatchQuarters.com for all your football needs. Make sure to check Amazon. I have 3 books on defense. Thank you for joining us today. Have a great day.